of course, started out with a small account and then blew that very quickly.
What your brain does, that even the chemicals that change when you take losses, it's unreal. You're like, but I'm following my strategy.
Long journey filled with few failures as well, yeah.
Hi, TFT team. Welcome to another payout interview. So this one's a little bit different. We usually do newly funded trader interviews or challenge winners, but now we've got a lot of payout interviews coming. So a lot of you guys are like skeptical. You're not sure, okay, is funded trader real? Do we actually pay people real money? Well, okay, here we are. We're interviewing right now just to prove it to you guys. Also, it's kind of a cool insight on the mindset of these traders, the strategies that these traders use, and just to get you some motivation to get your next payout. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to notifications. So I'll go ahead and give the floor to you. Let everybody know what your name is, where you're from, and what got you into trading.
Sure. My name is Remo Dalimonthee. I'm from Germany, and I'm a funds lawyer by vocation. And I was in the Cayman Islands, actually, with two clients who were Forex traders. And I had dabbled in trading before and since about 2010, and it didn't quite work the way I had hoped. So when I spoke to these two experts on Forex trading, they really got me engaged, and I got to talk with them about their strategy. And in the end, I was able to learn this strategy. So that's how I started out to become a Forex trader, really.
Very cool. And now, so were they the only ones that showed you a strategy, or did you kind of have to do your own research, figure out what worked for you? How did you get to where you are now?
Really, the main sort of basis for my strategy was from this mentor that I then met, as I said, in the Cayman Islands. And I also, of course, studied myself, and I did then add my own additional wings to this strategy, as it were. And yeah, so it's a little bit different to what I was taught initially.
Okay, very cool. I know it varies for most traders. Some will go through the extreme trial and error of doing all their own research, watching videos, reading books, figuring out what works, what doesn't. And then, years down the line, they finally curate like a version of their strategy. And I feel like the quickest way to go is the way you did. You get a mentor and you learn a strategy, and it gets you from 0 to 100 much quicker.
Yeah, but I do see the point of that, because of course, reading books is still a very, very helpful thing to do. I do that as well. I do try to always educate myself on important traders and their strategies. You never stop learning. So it's a day-to-day sort of continuous process. I wouldn't say it's finite. This is still a work in progress, and I'm very happy to read good books on trading as well.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely. Now, next question would be, did you go straight from, not knowing anything about trading to Forex, or did you try stocks at all? Did you try futures?
Yes. Well, I started out in 2010 buying stocks, and I started trading CFDs. Now, the stock purchases, they worked out extremely well, but the CFD trading, I did not. So that was much more akin to Forex trading. And it was years later, like I said, in 2018, that I met these two Forex traders who sort of inspired me to continue trading, as it were.
Okay, very cool. And now you said you've been doing this for how long?
I started in about 2018.
So you said you never stop learning. But as far as like kind of getting new strategies or getting ideas and strategies from someone else, was there a lot of failing in the beginning and now you are where you are?
Oh, yes. No, definitely. I, of course, started out with a small account and then blew that very quickly. And then I decided to fund with so 4-figure larger accounts, and blew up, I think, 2 or 3 of those. And yeah, and then I remember one particular account where I was able to triple it. And so 3 months, I had almost 90% increase on account. And in the end, that failed as well. So it was a long journey filled with few failures as well. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. We always got to let our viewers know, because they think it's like there is no failure involved in this. There's so much failure. There is time, there's patience, there is pain. It's all part of the process.
Indeed. And even with the challenges, I took challenges, obviously, with some prop firms. And when I saw the Forex League offering lifetime memberships, and I could do a challenge that way. So I took 3 challenges really effectively to get my 50K account. So that was something that also took time, and I didn't pass every challenge I did either.
Okay. And a good transition to the next topic would be the challenges. What is your experience with the process of the challenges? Which one was your favorite? Which one do you prefer? Which one did you win?
The initial one that I did for the Forex League was fairly straightforward. And I like that the terms that Forex League and Funded Trader give are a bit more favorable than some other prop firms. So for example, you can go up to 12% in drawdown, which is something that is not available with other challenges. So I actually was able to pass the challenges with the Forex League and Funded Trader fairly quickly. And the first one, I had some sort of technical issues. I didn't register with my FX book, which you then at that time still had to do. So even though I passed, it wasn't counted. So I had to do it again. I passed again. And then I was able to do the actual challenge. I passed that. And I did the verification. I passed that as well. And then I got the 50K account. So I can recommend that. And Funded Trader does keep their word. They do give you that challenge at the end. So they give you the real account at the end, rather. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. And then transition right into the next one. So you had a great experience with the challenge process. Now, what about the payout process?
Yes. Well, the payout process was done by a very slick interface. You just have to remember when you input the profit, it's not your actual profit, it's the total amount of profit that you have to put in, not your 80% split. So once I clear that up with the helpful people dealing with it, then it was very quick. It was within 2 days it arrived. And actually Wise is a very great way to do that because it's really, really fast and very reliable. So I was very happy with the process in the end.
Okay, good to know. And now speaking of the payout, so what got you to the payout is going to be your strategy. Are you able to share a strategy or a version of your strategy that you use to get you to that payout?
Sure. First of all, I am an Elliott wave trader. So I look at Elliott waves and then I also look at technical analysis generally. I do look at just the usual sort of trend lines. And I then look at the Fibonacci tool where there is a fall for 30% or 33%. I generally like to place a trade that it will fall further to the 66%, for example. And I also use fundamental news that I think is always very useful because in the end, news does get a lot of traders' attention. So in the end, just by the fact that somebody says something, it does have an impact often. So I do follow fundamental news as well. Yeah, so I'm sort of a mix between technical and fundamental trading styles.
Okay, very cool. And now when you look at the charts, what is kind of like your day-to-day? Before you make a trade, are you setting alerts? Do you spend most of the day watching the charts? How is that kind of process?
Yes, I do spend most of the day watching the charts. So I would first of all look at the larger timeframes, by which I mean 4 hours and 1 hour, just to determine if there is a trend, if it's up or down, if it's ranging sideways, or if you can really discern a very firm trend. So then I would look at smaller time frames, so let's say 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and then I would trade on the 1 minute chart.
Okay. Would you consider yourself, are you a scalper? Are you a day trader? Or do you just prefer that smaller time frame?
I'm all three, really, because I do all three things. But really, my preference is for the 1 minute time frame. To be a scalper is my ideal. But unfortunately, just sometimes you don't get those great fast moves that you would ideally like when you're scalping. And there are sideways ranging days, and there are days when I do swing trading where I keep it longer than a day, and there are days when I do intraday trading where I keep it just a few hours. But my real preference is the fast moving intraday trades where you can get in and get out very quickly. And this is my sort of teacher's pip and run system as well, where you go in very quickly and you get out fairly quickly as well. Ideally, if you get the moves, that's my preferred way to trade.
Absolutely. Okay. And the strategy that you use is able to work across the board on all three of those? That's
a very good question, actually, because yes, with Elliott wave trading, it does really help you in all three, I think, because you can then sometimes see the fifth wave, the third wave in the larger time frame. So that gives you good information and helps you determine the trend, but also it applies to the smaller timeframes as well. So I would look at Elliott waves also in the 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and even the 1 minute chart, because it's sort of my guiding compass, the Elliott waves. I do also use other tools like trend lines, and I look at indicators as well, obviously the MACD, stochastic, average true range, and the RSI. So those four is what I always have open as well.
Okay, very neat. Good to know. I don't do much scalping at all, so it's kind of neat to know that you can use that same strategy, just kind of a closer look in the chart, but same method.
Yes, obviously it's much more reliable on the longer time frames, because you get a lot of noise, a lot of false moves in the smaller time frames. It does still help sometimes, but yes, obviously the longer the time frame, the larger the time frame, the more accurate the Elliott wave predictions tend to be.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. Next would be the psychology of trading. This is kind of cool because it's different between every single person. Kind of what is your psychology behind trading? How do you take the losses? How do you take the wins?
Yeah, this is an excellent question, because that's really my most important issue at this point in time, because really the psychology of trading is the most important thing for me at the moment, because I've had a few losses before, and that tends to affect me when I trade, that I tend to get out of winning trades too early. So that's something I need to work on, to discard the fear, as it were, of losing position and rather keep riding the trend. So I really need to work harder at riding the trend that is not broken until it really is clearly at the end. Yeah. So for me, this fear is something I need to just to overcome the fear of losing the trade. Is quite hard, I think, because you want to take the profits quickly, but it's not the best thing to do. You should really let it run till it's moved its apex, the move. So that's really the most beautiful trade, when you can keep it till the end. And when that happens, that's the ideal, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think every trader struggles with that. It's like what your brain does, that even the chemicals that change when you take losses, it's unreal. You're like, but I'm following my strategy. But then you're like, oh, but I actually held this loss longer than I would have held this win. It's very complicated. I'm
amazed at traders who have very large payouts, who have a win rate of 29% or some really low win rate, but still make great profit. That's something that is just not in sync with my nature, because I like to have large win rates, and I tend to have a win rate of 68, 60% thereabouts. But of course, that comes at a price, because I do come out of trades quicker than I should. So if I was able to maybe take a few more losses, I actually would make more money, paradoxically, as strange as that sounds, because I would ride the winning trades till the end.
Next question is going to be, do you have a specific pair? Do you trade one specific pair? Do you have multiple? What is kind of like your top ones?
Well, I started out really with trading the US dollar, Japanese yen. So that was my preferred pair at that time. But I've since moved on, and I've actually now transitioned to trading gold most of all. So I watch gold, I watch S&P 500 and the DAX, and also still UJ, USD, Japanese yen, and British pound, USD, and the Australian dollar USD. I also keep an eye on that one.
Okay, very cool. And then the next question is going to be, what is your advice for traders that quite haven't had that payout? They've passed the challenge, but they seem to blow accounts, or what is just some advice to ones that are just so close to getting that payout, but can't quite get it?
You mean those who have the funded account, but are just before getting? Well, I think the most important advice that I can give is that if you have a winning week and you have good profits, and then you have a few days before payout, be very careful when you trade and don't make big trades. Then risk much smaller than you would normally, so that you do not compromise your profit, and make it to the payout date with your profit intact, because every trade can end your profit, wipe it out. So I think that's the most important lesson, to really make sure that if you have a good profit, that you protect it when it comes to payout. If you're a few days before, don't think because you did so great 7 days, winning days, that you just continue trading the same way. I think you have to adjust. If your payout date is coming, you have to take it easy, and you have to really protect that profit.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yes. That's incredibly insightful. I don't think we've discussed something like that for future payout guys. So yes, take notes. I hope you guys rewind it and wrote that down. The next question is going to be, what is your advice to future traders in general, just as a whole? Ones that think that this is like a get rich quick scheme, ones that don't understand that this is like profession that you have to invest time in. What is your advice to new traders?
Well, it's just like you said, it's a profession where you do need to invest time in. And that is very, very true. That is really the key, because it did take me a couple of years really to really become a trader where I can say I can make a profit on a funded account, because it's like with any real profession, you have to learn through your mistakes. You have to learn through just applying things you've learned over years, over months, over days. And it's not going to happen that you get rich quick within a month or 2 or 6. I mean, it can, of course, there are these sort of weird events that can take place, but for most people, this will be a normal sort of 2-year apprenticeship, at least, I think, until you really have a full, firm grasp on risk management, on the balance between taking the risk and protecting your account. And that fine balance, I think, is one of the most difficult things to achieve, because you can swerve too much in one direction, protect your account too much, and then not take enough risk to make good winning trades, large wins, making money. Or you can, what most people do, risk way too much, over leverage, and not protect your account. So to find that balance between those two, I think that's really the key thing for any trader.
Absolutely. All right. I think that was a great way to end it. I hope that was super motivating for you guys. And Remo, good luck with the psychology. I know you got this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time.